Thanks, Madam Nadia. We are from Group 2, and today my group mates and I will be discussing about the concepts of ethics and civilization. My name is Aisha Tuba Mohammed, and I'll be starting off our presentation and will be giving a brief introduction regarding our presentation. My group mates, Ahmad Zaid, Ali Uwais Mohammed, Ahmad Tauba, and Aminat Hamda will be further elaborating on the subtopics respectively. Next. Our presentation will consist of a brief introduction, and we'll be talking about ethical principles and their applications, civilization's influence on ethical standards, the evolution of ethical systems, the relationship between ethics and civilization, and we'll be concluding with the conclusion. So firstly, there are many interpretations that would come to our mind when we hear the term civilization. But the general definition of this term is said to be the system and the level of social development of a country. In Malaysia, this term is translated as adab, and it emphasizes on the physical and spiritual life of a nation or society. It is also said that a high quality of life can be achieved by having good manners and moral values. A renowned American historian named Will Durant, he describes civilization as a social structure that promotes cultural creativity. And according to him, it comprises of 4 essential components: economic resources, political systems, moral principles, and a tradition of knowledge and the arts. Now let's talk about ethics. So ethics refer to a set of principles that guides individuals to avoid inappropriate and unacceptable behaviors and helps them adopt rational, sensible, and beneficial actions to themselves and society. Now, Malaysia is said to be a country with a diverse and multi-ethnic population. And with diversity, it poses multiple challenges, and the most common one is said to be that it generates a limitless variety of differing and oftentimes conflicting viewpoints. Proceeding to the historical element of this topic, the Malay archipelago historically integrated with the Indian, Chinese, and Middle Eastern civilizations, each possessing unique ethical systems before British colonization. During the British colonial period, the influx of Chinese and Indian laborers introduced by Europeans led to a more complex cultural and ethical framework in Malay society. Now, furthermore, ethical principles and values are said to be emerging from the lived experiences of individuals within their specific cultural contexts. And these experiences contribute to a rich, diverse moral landscape reflecting the variety of cultures, traditions, and historical contexts.
I'll be continuing on from where my colleague left. I'll be talking about the principles of ethics and their application. Autonomy. I'll be talking about what ethical principles are and what it consists of. What is ethical principles in Malaysia? They are normally influenced by Islamic traditions, Islamic teachings, and traditions. I'll be talking about autonomy first. Autonomy is the right to make independent decisions and act based on one's own reasonings and motives in everyday things, but this is balanced with community and family input in key life decisions such as career choices and marriage. I'll move on to beneficence. Beneficence is the act of acting for the benefit of others without expecting anything in return and acting with good morals in all aspects of life. This can be seen in good or wrong. Community members support each other during events and disasters, such as weddings, funerals, or in natural disasters. I'll move on to non-beneficence. Some practices in Malaysia about avoiding harm or not doing harm in any way or form stems from its ancient traditions such as Patah Larang. These are customary taboos that serves as guidelines to prevent misfortune and maintain peace among community, while also promoting thoughtful and considerate behavior and actions to preserve harmony not only between individuals but also between communities. Or talk about justice. Justice is fairness and equity, which are central to Islamic teachings. So justice comes from Islamic teachings, and it is one of the main central pillars in Islamic teachings that makes Malaysia great. Community elders mediate disputes, ensuring fairer outcomes. It also ensures social stability and reinforces strong leadership ethics. At last, we have integrity or amana. This is based on trust, honesty, and accountability in personal and professional life. Some of the applications in business is focusing on transparency, fairness, and truthfulness in advertisements. Sometimes we tend to make false advertisements. This should be avoided. And avoiding bribery and usury or riba. Some applications in governance is leaders are expected to act with integrity and act for the benefit of the community welfare without misuse of power or corruption. Application in education, teachers are expected to instill the students or children with respect, fairness, and responsibility to nurture moral character and intellect for the future generations of Malaysia. I will forward it to my colleague Voice.
Hello, my name is Wes. I will be talking to you today about civilization's influence on ethical standards. I will be first talking to you about education's contribution to ethical development. This first starts with education of morals. Moral education classes, also known as ME classes, were first introduced in Malaysia in the year of 1983. They include vital skills required to develop a moral compass, such as with them compassion, justice, respect, and moderation. They also include giving students critical thinking skills and conflict resolution, allowing students to navigate ethical dilemmas. Moral education classes have been changing according to the changing society, allowing for the curriculum to change along with the morals of the era. Next. I will be talking to you about changes in ethical norms based on societal changes. The first change we could see in Malaysia is the declaration of Rukun Negara, which happened in 1970 due to the recent riot at that time. The 5 pillars of the Rukun Negara were belief in God, loyalty to the king and country, supremacy to the constitution, rule of law, and courtesy and morality. Additionally, there were also changes in Malaysia's social norms due to the globalization that has occurred due to the internet and other forms of interconnection. This includes melding of cultures, interaction between religions, frequent clashes between ideologies, and cooperation of large societies and communities.
When it's come to this part, I'm going to instruct more on the evolution of ethical systems. Next. So the evolution of ethical system, I'm going to have 3 main points. So I'm going to talk about the ancient theory, how it's going to be belonging to with what's going the evolution system. And also the religion contributions guided by spiritual and moral teaching, modern theory focused on global and contemporary challenges. So when it's come to the ancient theories, let's begin with ancient theories of ethics. We're going to start by Socrates, which is a famous Greek philosopher. Believed that virtue comes from knowledge. He taught that if we truly understand what's good, we will naturally act in a good and moral way. This helped find these moral truths. Socrates used the Socratic method, which is going to be a process of asking questions to encourage deep thinking and self-discovery. For Socrates, ignorance was the root of unethical behavior. So gaining knowledge, which means was essential for living in a virtual living. The other one is Ibn Mashawi, which is Arabic and Islamic scholar, who is also a philosopher. He came in the old golden age. So he was believed that a various life comes from balancing 3 internal forces, which is intellect, anger, and others. So he thought that reason should guide us to control our emotion and impulses. This balance, he argued, leads to inner harmony and ethical behavior. Together, this thinker reminds us that understanding ourselves and using reason are vital for making ethical choices. The other one, which is really important, which is religious contributions. So next, we'll look how major religions contribute to ethical understanding. So I'm going to start with Christianity, which is the teaching of Jesus, emphasize love, forgiveness, and compassion. So one of the most important principle is love your neighbor as yourself, which is almost the same like in Islamic way. So the other one is going to be in Islam, which is the central value, which includes justice, charity, accountability. For example, the practice of zakat, which is going to giving the portion of one's health to the less fortunate. It's not just a charitable but also a way to purify wealth and reduce inequality. It reflects the idea that ethical behavior involves taking care of others and ensuring fairness in society. Okay, now Buddhist ethical principle, which is going to be focusing on non-violence, etc. Next. So the other one, which is modern theories. When it's come to the modern theories, finally, let's explore the modern ethical system and how they address today's challenges. Which one of them, which is ultraliberalism, which is developing in 19th century, which is going to focus on achieving the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. This means making decisions that maximize overall well-being. The other one, which is deontology, which is created by Immanuel Kant in 18th century, is about following the moral rules or duties regardless of the outcomes. The other one, which is Islamic ethics, which is timeless, which is going to be offer timeless principles that emphasize justice, compassion, and fairness. And why timeless? Because it can be used at any time for any occasion, because it's not related to one sort of time that can be used. So it's still applicable in all life. So, for example, in financial matter, Islam ethics prohibit changing excessive interest to ensure fairness and prevent exploitation. This focus on ethical fairness help create trust and balance in society. This modern approach provides frameworks for navigating the complex ethical dilemmas where we face today, balancing happiness, rule, and fairness. Now I'm going to pass the talk to Hamda.
Moving on to the relationship between ethics and civilization, we already know that ethics plays a huge role in building a civilization. One of the highlights is how ethics contribute in the multiracial society, such as Malaysia, which consists of the Malay, Chinese, and Indians mostly. It not only promotes social harmony, but also through the respecting of different ethical groups, it clears a path for peaceful coexistence through shared ethical values. The shared moral framework by balancing human rights with a unique custom and beliefs of these groups. They also take into account the benefits for all the groups involved, whether it be considering the ethical beliefs or religious views. The benefits this brings to the society include increased collaboration and reduced intergroup conflicts. It also builds trust. They also lead to a more efficient decision making because through the encouragement of social responsibility, the opinions and ideas are collected from several groups and not just one, meaning this leads to better results and a more stable environment. It also leads to a collective progress of the civilization through collaboration of all the groups involved in the community. Looking at how ethics contribute to the development and long-term survival of civilization, ethical values such as fairness, justice, and equality helps foster cooperation while reducing conflicts between the groups. It also establishes common moral standards to work towards a collective goal, focusing on the welfare of generations. They consider the advantages and disadvantages of something that would bring. They consider the advantages and disadvantages before they make a decision on how it would benefit the future generations. It also helps. It also plays an important role in the sustainability, whether it be the human welfare or building a sustainable environment, because it guides individuals, organizations, as well as the government in making rules and regulations to achieve the success, not by benefiting one specific individual, but the community as a whole. Due to this, the ethical frameworks such as resource management, environment protection, and following economic policies, these guide communities to achieve the sustainability mentioned before, which also leads to the development and ensures the survival of a civilization in the long run.
Finally, to summarize, we have discussed the principles of ethics and civilization, explored civilization's influence on ethical standards, learned about education's contributions to ethical development, discussed changes in ethical norms based on societal changes, the evolution of ethical systems, and lastly, also we have highlighted on the relationship between ethics and civilization. And therefore, it is evident that the Malaysian ethics and civilization have been greatly influenced by the convergence of diverse civilizations within the Malay world, blending principles of rational thought with elements of materialistic pragmatism. That would be all for our presentation. And on behalf of all of our members from Group 2, we kindly thank and appreciate your time listening to our presentation, and we sincerely wish you a very happy holiday. Thank you.